The birth of the invincible fortress. The story of the Bismarck truly began with Adolf Hitler's obsession with building the ultimate battleship. In 1936, he ordered the construction of a warship intended to render every other navy obsolete. The result was a beast that stretched 800 feet long, about 2.5 football fields, and was encased in 13 inches of armor. Its 8 15-inch guns could punch through the hull of any ship afloat from 22 miles away. When the Bismarck was launched in 1939, Hitler's propaganda minister hailed it as the pride of Germany. The ship was equipped with state-of-the-art features and comforts: its own bakery, a dental office, air conditioning, and even a movie theater. The crew of 2,200 men believed they were boarding an invincible floating fortress. They had no idea that most of them would be dead within the year. Captain Ernst Lindemann knew the truth that Hitler's admirals refused to admit. The Bismarck had one fatal flaw: it was alone. The German Navy possessed only a handful of major surface ships, while Britain had dozens. If the Bismarck was ever cornered, it would face the entire Royal Navy by itself. Lindemann privately told his officers, "We will either return as heroes or not at all." The breakout and the hunt. On May 18, 1941, the Bismarck set sail for its first and only mission, Operation Rheinübung, Rhine exercise. The goal was to break into the Atlantic and wreak havoc on merchant convoys. It was accompanied by the heavy cruiser Prinz Eugen, but everyone understood the Bismarck would do the real killing. British spies in Norway spotted the German ships almost immediately. The message that reached Prime Minister Winston Churchill was simple and terrifying: Bismarck is out. Churchill reportedly went pale. He knew that if the Bismarck reached the convoy lanes, it could sink 50 merchant ships before anyone could stop it. This could be the final, fatal blow to Britain. The Royal Navy scrambled everything it could. The aircraft carrier Victorious, the battleships King George V and Prince of Wales, the battlecruiser Hood, and dozens of cruisers and destroyers all converged on the Denmark Strait. It became the largest naval hunt in history. The destruction of the mighty Hood. The Hood was Britain's most beloved ship, affectionately called the Mighty Hood by the press. For 20 years, it had reigned as the largest warship in the world. When British admirals sent it after the Bismarck, the public relaxed, convinced the Hood would save them. They were unaware of its crucial weakness: its deck armor was dangerously thin. On May 24, at 5:52 in the morning, the Hood and the new battleship Prince of Wales spotted the Bismarck. The British ships opened fire first, but their shells missed their mark. Then the Bismarck responded. The German gunnery was instantly perfect. The third salvo from the Bismarck found its target. A 15-inch shell punched through the Hood's thin deck armor and detonated in its ammunition magazine. What happened next shocked all who witnessed it. The Hood didn't just sink, it exploded. A column of flame shot 1,000 feet into the air. The ship literally broke in half. In less than 3 minutes, the mighty Hood was gone. Of the 1,418 men aboard, only 3 survived. The Prince of Wales, damaged and outgunned, was forced to flee. The Bismarck had won its first battle in 6 minutes. The German crew celebrated, but Captain Lindemann remained grim. He knew the entire Royal Navy would now come for revenge. Lost and found. The Bismarck had not escaped unscathed. 3 shells from the Prince of Wales had hit, one of which ruptured a fuel tank. The ship was now leaking oil across the ocean, like blood from a wounded animal. Lindemann wished to return to port for repairs, but Admiral Gunther Lütjens overruled him. They would continue into the Atlantic, a decision that sealed their doom. For 2 days, British cruisers shadowed the Bismarck using radar, staying just out of gun range. Then, on May 24, the Bismarck suddenly turned and charged straight at its pursuers. The British ships scattered, believing they were under attack. It was a trick. In the confusion, the Bismarck vanished into a weather front and disappeared. For 31 agonizing hours, the Royal Navy lost the most dangerous ship in the world. Panic spread through the Admiralty. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A British radio operator noticed that the Bismarck was transmitting long radio messages. The Germans did not realize that British direction-finding equipment could track these signals. When Admiral Lütjens sent a 30-minute radio message to Berlin, he essentially put up a giant sign saying, "Here we are." The Swordfish and the jammed rudder. The British realized the Bismarck was heading for France, likely the port of Brest. but their ships were running low on fuel. Only one vessel was in a position to attack, the aircraft carrier Ark Royal. The problem? Its aircraft were obsolete biplanes called Swordfish, looking like they belonged in World War I, not 1941. On May 26, 15 Swordfish took off in terrible weather. These fabric-covered planes flew at just 90 miles per hour. The Bismarck's anti-aircraft guns were designed for fast, modern aircraft. Ironically, the slow speed of the Swordfish made them too slow for the German gunners to track properly. 14 torpedoes missed, but the 15th torpedo changed everything. It struck the Bismarck's stern, jamming its rudder hard to port. Suddenly, the mighty battleship could only steam in circles. It was like a wounded bear, still dangerous, but unable to escape. Captain Lindemann knew they were finished. The execution of a Titan. Through the night, British destroyers harassed the crippled giant. On the morning of May 27th, the battleships King George V and Rodney arrived. What followed was not a battle, it was an execution. Starting at 8:47 a.m., the British ships pounded the Bismarck from just 4 miles away. The German ship's fire control was destroyed in the first minutes. By 9:30 a.m., the Bismarck was a burning wreck. All 4 gun turrets were destroyed, and the superstructure was twisted metal. Hundreds of men were dead or dying, but the ship would not sink. German engineering had built it too well. Its armor belt kept it afloat. The British fired over 2,800 shells. Finally, the crew opened the seacocks, deliberately flooding the ship from within. At 10:39 a.m., the Bismarck rolled over and sank. Of the 2,200 men aboard, only 114 survived. Captain Lindemann chose to go down with his ship. Survivors reported seeing him standing at attention on the bridge, saluting as his ship died. The end of an era. The Bismarck had lasted exactly 8 days at sea. It destroyed the Hood in 6 minutes, but it could not survive against the combined might of an entire navy. Its death marked the end of the era of massive surface battleships. The future belonged to aircraft carriers and submarines. The wreck of the Bismarck was discovered in 1989 by Robert Ballard, the same explorer who found the Titanic. It lies 3 miles down, its hull largely intact. Its guns still point skyward, frozen in their last battle. The Bismarck story is one of incredible engineering, fatal pride, and the futility of fighting alone against overwhelming odds. It was the most feared ship in the world for 8 days. Then it was gone, taking 2,000 men to the bottom of the Atlantic. Its only victory was also the beginning of its end. The lesson was clear: no single weapon, no matter how powerful, can win a war alone.